Hello everyone. Today we are going to start with the next chapter, chapter number 5, reproduction in plants. Part 1 for class 7th, science. Now, as the name itself tells you, reproduction in plants, reproduction is of course a unique characteristic of living thing. We have already studied about the different characteristics of living being in class 6th. Okay, and you all know what is reproduction. Okay, it's a process in which different organisms, may it be a plant, an animal, gives rise to their own kind. Okay, more of their own kind is known as reproduction. So there are various modes by which organisms reproduce, and also different organisms reproduce by different modes. All of them do not use the same mode for reproduction. Mostly unicellular organisms just divide into two or more of their kinds, while multicellular organisms reproduce either sexually or asexually. So we are going to see different types of reproduction in this particular chapter, and we will even see we will more emphasize on the asexual kind of reproduction that's been carried out in plants. Now, first of all, we are going to talk about the types of reproduction. So there are two ways or two methods by which reproduction is being carried out, that is asexual reproduction and sexual reproduction. Asexual reproduction is a method of reproduction in which a single individual gives rise to more of its own kind. Here only single individual is been involved in the reproductive process. Whereas in sexual reproduction, it's a method of reproduction which involves two parents, a male and a female, to give rise to more of their own kind. Okay, so plants which reproduce sexually, they produce flowers, fruits and seeds. And those who are producing or reproducing asexually, they do not give rise to flowers, fruits and seeds. So first of all, we'll talk about asexual kind of reproduction in organisms. Now there are various ways of asexual reproductions as well. These are fragmentation, budding, spore formation and vegetative propagation. So all these are different modes of asexual reproduction. Now in the slide you can see the first process which is being shown, that is fragmentation. This kind of reproduction takes place in the cells of an alga. It's a kind of alga that's known as Spirogyra. The cells form long filaments. The cells of the Spirogyra, they form long filaments, and if a part of the filament breaks, the fragment can grow into a new filament, or a baby filament we can call it as, a daughter ones. You can find Spirogyra floating in ponds and ditches which do not have fresh water. So this is a kind of Spirogyra, it's a kind of alga which grows into ponds and even ditches. So fragmentation is one of the processes by which asexual reproduction is being carried out. Then the next one is bud formation, okay, budding process. Now in some unicellular organisms like yeast you all know that it's been used for making bread or the bakery products, where it helps to rise the dough and then it becomes fluffy. Okay, so yeast is used for that purpose. It carries out reproduction process by giving rise to an outgrowth which is formed in the cell. This outgrowth grows bigger in size and it is called as bud. The bud gradually grows and then get detached from the parent cell, and a new individual is being formed. The new individual again grows, matures and again forms a bud, and a whole colony of yeast cell is formed this way. Okay, so the parent cell forms a bud, gives rise to a daughter cell, then the daughter cell grows in size, becomes mature, then it grows, gives out some bud. That new daughter cell is being made out of it, and this is how it gives rises to different bud, and the colony or a chain of buds is being formed. The next one is spore formation. Now this spore formation process, it's been carried out in certain non-flowering plants, the plants which do not produce flowers, like bread mold. Now this can be done by an activity when you take a piece of bread and moisten it, put some water on it and keep it in a petri dish in a warm place, okay, where the temperature is it must be moist, and you can even keep it at room temperature. Keep the bread moist, it must not dry, and observe it. After a few days, a cottony mass will appear on the bread, and after you observe a small part of it under a microscope, you will see that there is a spore bearing structure called as sporangia, as you can see here in the diagram. Okay, the bread has got some outer structure, a spore bearing structure, which is known as sporangia. Now this particular non-flowering plant, these are round in shape and are covered with a protective coat. The coat protects the spores from unfavorable conditions like extreme temperature and dryness, and the spores are very light, so they easily get dispersed here and there by air. And when the spore floats in the air, if it finds a favorable condition, it will grow over there. If it finds favorable condition, that is food, warmth and moisture, if it gets, it grows into a new individual. So this is how spore formation process takes place. So these are the three ways by which asexual reproduction is being carried out in certain organisms. Then we are going to talk about vegetative propagation by stems. Okay, now vegetative propagation is the process in which the parts of the plant like stem, roots and leaves are generally they are not meant for reproduction. They are the vegetative parts of the plant, but sometimes these parts can give rise to a new plant. So such kind of reproduction where the plant parts are involved in reproduction process is known as vegetative propagation. This may take place naturally or can be done artificially also. So first we are going to talk about asexual reproduction by stems, how it has been carried out in stems. So the first way by which it's been done is the rhizome. The first figure which you can see in the slide, rhizome. Now plant like grasses, turmeric and ginger produce underground stems which are known as rhizomes. These stems have scale, leaves and buds. As these stems grow through the soil, they produce adventitious kind of root in the buds and new shoot comes out from it above the ground surface. And if the rhizome subsequently dies, if it dies, then a separate plant will be formed after it is been detached from the parent plant. Okay, then the next is tubers. Tubers are swollen underground stems containing starch. Potato is a tuber again. It has buds. You might have seen that the buds grow when the potato has been kept for a long time in a damp condition, even if you keep it at room temperature, but if it is kept for a long time, it starts forming buds on the outer surface. It has buds which are commonly termed as eyes. If a potato is cut into pieces and planted in the soil, the part where eye or the bud has been grown up, you can cut that part of the potato and place it in the soil. A new plant will develop from each part of it. So this is how again a tuber gives rise to a new plant, a new potato plant. Then the next is the third figure which you can see in the figure picture or the PPT is the bulb. The onions and lilies have a reduced underground stem which is enclosed by a thick fleshy leaf known as bulb. The leaves store food. We have seen the modified functions of stem, in which we have seen that certain stem stores food. So this onion is also an outgrowth or it is a modified stem. In this leaves which we eat, we mainly call it as spring onion. In the spring onion, the shoot begins to grow using the nutrients stored in the leaves. Okay, so the leaves, the petals which we peel it off when an onion has been peeled off, that are the leaves, dried leaves. And when we peel it off, cut it into parts, you can see that each and every part which is being cut is in the form of leaf, and this gives rise to, it's a modified stem which gives rise to the spring onion, that's green in color. Then the next is corms. This is underground stem too, similar to bulb, but with no leaves surrounding the stem. Food here is stored in the swollen stem. buds are present on the stem, which gives rise to a new plant. Okay, colocasia, that is commonly in Hindi we call it as arbi, and gladiolus are corms. So these two are the examples of corms. Then the next picture which you can see is the runner. It's again a stem. These are horizontally growing stems that produce very few leaves at a node where a leaf would normally develop. You all know the nodes and internodes, we have seen it in 6th standard. So that's the part from where a leaf generally grows. These plants produce adventitious roots down into the stem and shoots come out from there. The shoot portion from where the upper part of the plant, the leaves, fruits are being developed, that are being grown around above the ground surface. For example, grass is an example of the propagation by this way, runner process, and strawberry is a runner showing arches with plantlets. A small plantlets comes out at the nodal part of it, which is known as stolon. Some other examples of vegetative propagation by creeping stems are chrysanthemum and water lettuce, which are generally that's a show plant being kept. So these two are not much useful, but it can be a decorative ones. But strawberry is one of the example by which you can carry out this process. So this was all about the propagation by stems. In the next part we will see the further process.